Every spring, there comes a certain change in the air. At first, more like a whisper than a song. The first trickles of life in the new year, signaling the start of the season, and tell of a blossoming tide that will soon follow in its heels. And of course, we aren't the only ones to notice. The warmer temperatures and longer days of March perk the ears of the trees, triggering the buds to begin their gradual transformation from tiny flecks on a branch to the breathtaking blossoms worthy of festivals and poems. So how do those little flecks turn into the stars of the show? And how do we know when it's all going to happen? Well, luckily for us, cherry blossom buds go through 6 observable stages during their development, each stage representing an approximate window of time left until the full bloom. We watch the stages as they progress, and adjust the estimated time of the remaining stages according to weather forecasts to make our peak bloom prediction. It all begins with a little green bud, the first stage along the journey, where the small brown scales of the bud produce a subtle green tip and start to slightly swell, just enough to ensure us that we've made it through the winter yet another year, and the blossoms are about a month away. After the green buds come visible florets, the second stage of the bud development. Here, the scaled buds are fully swollen, and a tight grouping of huddled florets can be spotted inside. This is about 3 weeks until bloom. Next is floret extension, where those florets break from their bud casing and on their way to becoming distinct blossoms of their own. Notice all of those florets came from just a single flower bud. Once we enter these stages, the trees really start to look like blooms will be on their way soon, and they can be picked out from afar. The fourth stage is peduncle elongation, everyone's favorite to say out loud. The peduncle is that dainty little stem attaching each floret to the main branch, and it helps the flowers from crowding one another. Once we reach this stage, full bloom is about a week away. Right before bloom is the puffy white stage. No one will look at you funny for sitting under a tree at this stage, as the blossoms are about to burst to full size any day now, roughly 3 days to be exact, and the trees themselves look rather lovely already. Finally, we have the full bloom. This one, of course, is unmistakable. With cool, calm weather, and a dodge of any early spring freezes, we can expect the blooms to hang around in their best for about a week or two. Here in Philadelphia, our city is planted with a nice diversity of flowering cherries and some of their brightly colored allies that altogether paint the colorful backdrop of our early spring days over the course of several weeks' time. Let's get to know some of the bloom varieties you're likely to run into. The striking bold pink of the okame cherries are the first of the bunch to make an appearance. Coming into full bloom around late March, we actually use these trees to help predict the blooming of the yoshinos, which typically lag 2 weeks behind these okame. Their frost-resistant and long-lasting flowers make an impressive showing of their own, and their deep pink colors an unmistakable signal that spring has sprung. Slightly before, during, and after the early birds are the higan, or winter-flowering cherries. As their name implies, they make a modest showing on warm days even during winter. Featuring double the petals of the standard 5, their delicate, fluttering nature makes them a welcomed early spring sight, and their real superpower is their ability to still make a full showing alongside the yoshinos, despite their preview performance. The bark on this aged weeping cherry is quite remarkable. Known as Shidare Zakura in Japan, weeping cherries actually represent a wide range of varieties. Some are closely related to the higan cherry, and produce similar light pink double-petaled blossoms. These are often grafted, a process where branches of one species are surgically attached to the trunk of another, leaving a dividing line. Here you can see pink higan blossoms above, and a reverted branch from below the graft line producing white blossoms of the parent plant. Other weeping cherries are natural, and can be grown quite large. Their beautiful, graceful forms make for absolutely wonderful specimen trees, towering over their surroundings like giant guardians that sway in the wind. If all the trees so far build the crescendo, it's the Yoshino cherries that sound the triumphant final theme. The most popular cherry blossom inside Japan and out, the Yoshino is the backbone of the festivals. Often planted en masse, their alleys and groups create the perfect setting for thoughtful rests and joyful picnics with family and friends. Their elegant, simple white flowers appear plentifully along their branches, creating the effect of fluffy white clouds, especially intoxicating when looking up into the canopy. These dreamy groves create an inviting scene for all to behold. They are truly Japan's gift to the world. So while spring is here, and the various blossoms are putting on their collaborative performance, remember to take a moment. Hanami, after all, is about reflection, and appreciating these quiet companions that we share our city with. No matter if you are just starting out small, or if you've been at it for a while now, if you look for it, you can always find your time to bloom.